Let's see how GitHub Copilot can help me quickly start writing a Python application. In my example, I want to create a website for a conference. I'm going to use the Python framework Django, which allows me to quickly create websites that have a database backend. Now, the first step to setting up a Django project is to create the models. This is going to describe what my data looks like. Now, one of the little challenges here is that this can be relatively boilerplate. Fortunately, GitHub Copilot will come to the rescue. What I'm going to do is start by describing what I want. I want to start by creating a model for my speaker. Let's say create model for speaker with name, email, and LinkedIn URL. Perfect. Next, what you'll notice is a little bit of gray italicized text here. This is GitHub Copilot making a suggestion. It's making a suggestion for a new class called speaker, and you'll notice that it wants to inherit from models.model, which is exactly what I want to do when I'm creating my Django model. I'll hit tab to accept, and then GitHub Copilot will make a recommendation for the remainder of the class. It has my name, my email, and my LinkedIn profile. It also, down at the very bottom here, includes an override for the Python string function. This is a very common practice inside of Django because quite frequently you're going to want a quick and easy string representation of an object. That string function does exactly that for me, and GitHub Copilot put that in. So I've got the first class created. Now, as you might imagine, if we're going to have a speaker, they need to do something. They need, for example, a talk. Let's come to the next line here, and you're going to notice this gray italicized text. This is, once again, GitHub Copilot making a suggestion. That suggestion that it's making is based off of the code that it's seen up above. So I didn't add in a new comment. It saw the code and made the suggestion. I'm going to choose the second option here for my speakers to have a talk, and then GitHub Copilot will make a full recommendation for what it thinks the talk model should look like. Now, this is my code. I'm allowed to modify it. So for example, here, this on delete means that if I get rid of a speaker, it would also delete their talks. That's not necessarily what I want. So I'm going to update this to say protect to ensure that if a speaker has talks, we're not allowed to delete that speaker. The last big thing that I need is a code that matches a pattern. Now, typically, I would do this with regular expressions, which I would have to go look up the syntax for. With GitHub Copilot, I can describe in natural language what I'm looking for, and it will make a recommendation. So there is that regular expression all ready for me. I didn't have to go look up what that syntax would be. Now, the next part to all of this is I want to set up an admin page. The admin page in Django allows me to, as an administrator, work with my data. Now, each one of those models needs to be registered. So once again, GitHub Copilot is going to come to the rescue. With a couple of comments, I'm able to very quickly register both of those models. Now, there's a little bit of work that I need to do for Django to set up the migrations. That should really be make migrations. Let me fix that real quick. And then I'm going to run the migration to update the database. And then let's launch the website. With my website launched, I'm going to navigate over to the admin page, which is simply /admin here. Punch in my username and my password. And what we're going to notice is both the speakers and the talks being referenced there. You'll notice that if I hit add, I can see those three fields of name, email, and LinkedIn URL that I had created earlier. And all of this was streamlined by GitHub Copilot. So you'll notice I was able to create all of this with just a couple of comments and in just a couple of minutes. This frees me up to be able to focus on implementing the higher level business logic and solving the tougher problems.